It's 2 in the morning and I just realized I recorded the Yu-Gi-Oh script over this one, so we're just gonna go and pretend that didn't happen and run it back, okay? Okay. There was a point where I went down a YouTube rabbit hole that I remember very distinctly, one that made such an impact that I even started making a playlist just out of the videos that I watched that night. Every one of these videos asked or argued against the same question. Why aren't video games fun anymore? I am not going to ask that question, both because I don't want to and because I don't need to. So many others have already done so that I'm not going to make an entirely redundant video that wastes both your and my time. However, I will very, very briefly answer that question before we get into things. The general consensus on why gaming isn't perceived to be fun currently seems to be from two dominant factors: why games are made and why games are played, much more so the former on a grand scale. Ever since the advent of mobile gaming and the pioneers of in-app purchases, now better known as microtransactions, gaming has never been the same. As a general rule, gaming is one of the most profitable forms of media by a monolithic margin, ahead of streaming services, movies, and the global music industry. Games aren't being made to be fun, they're made to be addictive, especially mobile games. They aren't being made to be good, they're made to make as much money off of you as possible. The model, seemingly, to make a product as close to acceptable or good enough as needed to fly under the radar of criticism before then using that product as a vehicle to serve you as many rotating microtransactions, loot boxes, and battle passes as possible. All the while, they fuel and feed upon your fear of missing out because your money is all you're good for. Your wallet is all you're worth to them. But I'm not a gaming industry suit. I'm a creator on the internet, and I know exactly how I managed to ruin video games for myself, which included none of that. So today, I want to tell you about the day that I had an epiphany coming out of that. The day I remembered, oh yeah, gaming's supposed to be fun. Ever since around 2010, I've been a die-hard Halo fan thanks to playing Halo 2 multiplayer at a friend's house, and in 2011, I decided that I was going to buy my first Xbox. My cousin had one of the original white Xbox 360s that he'd left at home when he went to college, and he didn't want it anymore. I talked to my uncle, and he said that I could buy it off of them for about $100, so I spent the months at the end of the summer doing odd jobs for my parents until I could eventually earn up enough to buy it. Meanwhile, I got my hands on the Halo Reach Signature Series guide, and thought that everything I was reading was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. After seeing how much I was willing to work for an Xbox that was probably already red-ringed, and the passion for a game that I'd never played, my uncle and my parents joined forces to get me the best gift I had ever received at that point: a brand new second-generation Xbox 360 with a Kinect and a copy of Halo Reach. I played the crap out of Halo Reach, and to this day, it's still one of the only games that I managed to get my dad into that he still goes back and plays on his own. It meant a lot to both of us. Then Halo 4 came out, and despite the controversy of it basically being a Halo-flavored Call of Duty, I still loved it. Although, there was definitely something off about it. Something was missing after Halo Reach. It was in late 2013 that I realized I didn't specifically just have a love for Halo, but almost more so for Bungie, rest in peace. Shortly thereafter, a friend of mine asked if I'd ever heard of Destiny, the next big game that Bungie was making after they passed Halo on to 343 Industries, and for those of you who remember Destiny when it came out, you surely have a lot of opinions on it. The game was a disappointment, the story was a joke, and the development was so troubled that the game theory made about Destiny was much less of a game theory and much more of a factual expose. There wasn't any real significant content, and the DLCs, however cool they were at release, burnt out within a month. Of course, such a letdown would leave anyone passionate about Bungie's games gutted, but for me, almost none of that was true. I genuinely loved Destiny. It was one of the coolest experiences I had ever had, and just to give you context, I started playing Destiny as a franchise all the way back in the Destiny beta weekend back in 2014, and I only stopped playing after Destiny 2's Shadowkeep in 2020. The problem was, I became way too hardcore for my own good. After thousands of hours, Destiny 1 stopped being a game. It was my job, my life, my religion. During the time that I played Destiny, it was the single most important part of my life. I went to high school, came home, and struggled to balance my homework with my actual work. Every day was a strictly regimented, disciplined, and structured ritual, one that even the closest to me and those who knew me back then probably still don't understand. Get up, go to school, come home, log on, pick up the 5 daily Vanguard and Crucible bounties, play the daily mission, complete any Vanguard bounties that didn't get completed during the mission and turn them in, go play PvP, complete all the Crucible bounties, turn them in. If it's Tuesday, the weekly reset just happened, so go play the Nightfall Strike and get that buff that increases your XP gains for the week. If your helmet's not on fire, you don't even play this game. Now go play the 3 weekly Vanguard Strikes, and make sure you've got a raid team together. Remember to schedule a day without sleep if the raid is Vault of Glass or King's Fall, but you can relax if it's Crota's End. It's Wednesday. That means it's Arms Day. You completed the Arms Day bounty for your new weapon at the gunsmith, right? Good. It's Friday now. You're playing Trials, right? Of course you are. You're a good guardian and a loyal friend. You wouldn't let your squad down, would you? Now, make sure you go flawless and get to the lighthouse on Mercury, or all of the effort you put in was pointless. And speaking of pointless, what's your elo looking like these days? Oh wait, what week is it? The Iron Banner's back, and you need to make sure you're ready this time or you're going to miss out on that one cool piece of armor you wanted, just like last time. Well, look at that. It's Tuesday again. Time to start over. Now I want you to bear all of that in mind and then realize I had to do all of that 3 separate times a week. If you were a serious Destiny player, you had 3 characters, one of each class, and that way you got loot from each of the 3 Vanguard leaders, Zavala, Ikora, and Cayde 6, and from each of the side factions, New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, and the Future War Cult. This was the real Destiny grind, but believe it or not, the grind isn't what got to me. Competition was. I played in the Crucible until I got good, really good. But I was never the best PvP player and never would be, no matter what, no matter how much time I invested, no matter the build I used, I was always chasing someone. I fought my way past the top 50%, so I knew I was better than the majority of Destiny players, but the people I was playing with were still better, so I kept grinding until I was in the top 30%. My friends were in the top 20 or better, so I kept going. I fought my way into top 20, now they're top 15. I'm top 15, they're top 12. I stagnate at top 10, and they're top 5, and ahead of them is one person. That one cousin who went to college, whose Xbox I wanted to buy, had broken into the top 100 in the world for both Elimination and Trials of Osiris. Struggling to break through the top 8 or 9% was the moment that I realized that that goal was unattainable. That was the moment when everything burnt out. It wasn't as simple as Destiny not being fun anymore. Nothing was. I didn't have joy in anything anymore, not even the quote-unquote actual games that I used to relax. I hadn't just ruined gaming, I'd ruined my life through nothing but ambivalence and pride. I played games for those 2 reasons almost exclusively, and my value came as a consequence. Either I wanted the approval of others and for them to give me value, or I had to take that value from them through the pride of knowing that I was better than them. I wasn't playing anymore. I hadn't been playing for a long time, and the thing that had been giving my life purpose had finally robbed me of it. I got Destiny 2 when it came out, but I played it almost entirely solo. By that point, the damage was done, at least in terms of gaming. I focused more on what really mattered in life, my education, my relationships, and my actual religion. With time, I'd grown as a person, and eventually I came across an old YouTube video going over a game called Just Cause 2. Then I talked to a buddy of mine, and it turned out that he'd actually heard of the series, and at that point, he told me that there was a sequel. Just Cause 3 came out the year that he and I graduated high school, and I had no idea. By this point, I already had my first gaming PC, so I got Just Cause 3 on Steam, and that decision changed everything. Just Cause 3 was the most mindless, wanton destruction fest I had ever played, and I loved it. It hit closer to home for me too, because I'll be honest, I never really paid all that much attention to Rico as a character when we were liberating not Malaysia in Just Cause 2, but This game specifically focuses on him because it takes place in his home country, Medici, an obvious stand-in as not Italy, and since half of my blood is olive oil on my mom's side, my Mediterranean cheeks were on it. After getting a grip on my sentimentality, I was running around the base on this island with the satellite dishes, weaving around enemy patrols, flying from place to place planting trigger bombs, and when I got into the air above this place for a moment, everything stopped. I looked around at how beautifully rendered the world was, the fact that I was so invested in it, and the amount of passion that I had to explore and free it. And in that moment, Just Cause 3 broke me down. I was allowed to feel again. And what I felt was the childlike wonder that I had when I played Pokemon or Kirby as a kid. I paused, just staring at my monitor, dumbstruck by everything going through my mind while thinking nothing at all. And then I realized, oh yeah, wait, games are supposed to be fun. This is how gaming is supposed to feel. If there's a moral to my story, it's to not let your pride or your comparisons to other people define what you're worth or what you enjoy. I initially played games for fun, then as an escape, and then as an addict who was incapable of letting go because being better than other people is all that mattered to me. It was the competition, the grind. It defined me. And that way of thinking has now robbed me of months worth of cumulative hours that I will never get back. I ruined gaming, among other things, for myself because the only thing that mattered to me was seeing that my numbers were better than theirs. Gee, it's almost like being a YouTuber, but now I've grown to a point where I know that my purpose in life isn't something as petty as pride, and my value isn't something that can be derived from other people. Now, I'm making video games my job again, not because I feel as though if I don't, somehow I will be worthless, but because I have a genuine passion for an industry that's being crushed under its own weight. It's my job to do justice to an art form that's being bastardized as much as monetized, and help to correct a system that's rigged against the consumer like you and me through scummy development practices, manipulative psychological tactics, poor journalism, and outright lies. I'm a gamer because I want there to be a voice of reason in gaming. I'm a gamer because I want to create the consistent reviews that I want to see on the market and no one else is doing. I am a gamer because I love gaming. And I want to give you someone you can rely on if you do too. So let me ask you, why do you play video games? Thank you guys so much for watching my 1,000 subscriber special, and thank you all for being here to make that one happen. This was a very personal video, so I hope you got something out of it. In the meantime, I have been LoneWolfEX, and I will see you, yes you, next time.